The long-awaited Diablo 3 has finally arrived, and in the 12 years since Diablo 2 came out and was the action RPG, a lot has changed, some of which I covered in my preview. But now Diablo 3 is out and it set records for being the fastest selling PC game of all time. And the question is, was that just hype, or has Diablo 3 shown itself to be the new big powerhouse in the action RPG genre? Firstly, the style is somewhat less darker than its predecessor, and it's drawn a lot of criticism from some Diablo 2 purists, but that said, it does look really good, even with certain influences from World of Warcraft. Now, Blizzard's response to this was to make an entire level that is just made of rainbows, unicorns, and Care Bears, and it shows some really good humour from the developer. The destructible environments of the game, as well as battles occurring in the background, can give the game a really great atmosphere and scale. Some of the models though, especially the last boss, they look a bit cartoonish and sometimes frail. You can also pick up audio logs in the game that give some pretty gruesome descriptions of some of the monsters, with special mention to the scorpion demons, which are detailed as people who had their limbs mutilated into the shape of a scorpion and eventually went insane. And of course the soundtrack is amazing because it's a Blizzard game. The presentation of the game is a little bit on the light side, but you can't deny it looks pretty good. So presentation, 8 out of 10.
We did it! The catapult is raised! They'll regret never showing their ugly faces in Bastion's Keep.
With the fires lit and the catapults firing on the battlefield.
Now the gameplay is the same as it has always been, a massive loot and click fest. Now the combat revolves around using your abilities, finding a good rotation and clicking a lot. Compared with its predecessor, Diablo 3 is much more of a simplified game. Dual crafting and blacksmithing bear resemblance to WoW. No more identification scrolls, no more inventory Tetris with stacking potions and items taking up less room. Starting off in normal mode, Diablo 3 can almost seem too easy, but it's not until Nightmare mode that the game really starts. Diablo 3 has Normal, Nightmare, Hell and Inferno difficulties, of which I'm currently on Hell, where elite enemies have 3 random abilities and sometimes you can come across some real brutal combinations that are multitudes harder than any of the bosses. The co-op in the game is handled really well, where your friends can drop in and drop out whenever, regardless of their level, as long as they have completed the previous difficulty level. And the game scales to the number of players as well as the host's level. Playing 4 different classes in the one game adds a different level of strategy as well as enjoyment playing with friends. However, the horrible server problems at launch and lag issues, I feel that Blizzard should have included an offline mode separate to Battle.net, but with their yet to be released real money auction house, it has seemingly created a need for everything to be under Blizzard's control. Now the gameplay has been pretty streamlined, and for the players that didn't get mathematical with their builds in Diablo 2, it's a really good way to be able to switch up your abilities on the fly depending on your enemies. So overall the gameplay gets 8 out of 10. Now in the end, Diablo 3 really sets a high bar for the action RPG. Unfortunately it didn't launch with PvP and the real money auction house, but hopefully in time when some issues are fixed, I probably would have given it a 9, but at the moment, it's still a great game. Diablo 3 gets an 8 out of 10.